Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome to Niners Radio 49ers Live tonight. Professor Beer here at the studios here in San Francisco. Hope you enjoyed a wonderful New Year's weekend. Happy as we now bring in 2026, bringing the old and bringing the new. Of course, this is our the first full week of 2026 as the holiday season is now over. Holidays, Christmas, and the New Year's now came and went, and back to the first full week of we bringing in now the first full week of 2026 as the is here and the regular season is over. 49ers, of course, unfortunately fell to the Seattle Seahawks 13-3 Saturday night as the Seahawks have clinched the NFC West and they have clinched the number one overall seed in the NFC, which will run the road to Super Bowl 40 here at the Met in Santa Clara at the Mecca will run through Lumen Field in Seattle, and I believe this is for the first time in 11 years that the Seahawks claimed the number one overall seed, and it's going to run through them. It's going to be just the fourth time in franchise history the Seahawks finishes with the best record in the NFC. In fact, the fourth time since the division rejoining the NFC in 2000 of the divisional realignment that the Seahawks have the number one overall seed in the conference. In 2005, in their fourth year, the Mike Holmgren Seahawks team, they had the best record and they had home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They ended up going to their first ever trip to the Super Bowl 20 years ago when they ended up falling to the Pittsburgh Steelers in Super Bowl 40. Then, of course, in 2013, they had the best record in the NFC. I think they had the best record in all of football at 13-3, eking out the 49ers for the top spot in the division and for the overall spot in all of football in the conference. They had home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and they end up when Pete Carroll was there more than a decade ago, 12 years ago. They mollywopped the Denver Broncos and 40-8 in a dominant Super Bowl performance, and then a year later they finished with a share with the best top spot in the NFC, and they end up beating the Packers in that thrilling overtime game up at Seattle. Then they end up falling that heartbreaker to the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and then again, and this time they set a record 14-3. It's the second best regular season. It's a new record in franchise history, most wins in franchise history. So the Seahawks will have the bye week. Your 49ers, as a result, falling to the Seahawks last Saturday night, will end up dropping all the way to the number sixth seed. They will take on the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, who this will be for the second time in the last 4 years that these two teams will hook up in the playoffs, and only for the third time ever. And we'll get you with all the injury news and updates. Kyle Shanahan's press conference or phone conference call early in the day, and we will have all that coming up. So we will of course, if you always want to come on and check out our podcast, it's go to youtube.com/at Niners Radio 49. And please don't forget to click the subscribe button. And our goal is trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So we're going to take this quick time out. And when we come back, we'll hear from Kyle Shanahan, his presser earlier in the day from Santa Clara. I'm Professor B. You're watching 49ers Live tonight on Niners Radio 49. We'll take this time out. We continue on Niners Radio 49ers tonight. Professor B, it's kind of the aftermath of on this Monday. So we going to now get ready to share it is Kyle Shanahan's conference call he did with the Bay Area earlier in the day. And of course, the Niners got some bad news with Tatum Bethune. He tore his groin and he's going to be out for the remainder of the season. He will miss the entire postseason. How far the Niners go, he'll be out for the rest of the. He will miss the postseason, entire postseason, even if they get to Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara, will be actually next from yesterday. He'll miss the entire postseason with the torn groin. So we're gonna hear from Kyle Shanahan, and then we'll look at and then some stuff around the NFL as well. Coaches, it was also today was Black Monday. Black Monday around the NFL. Coaches getting fired. Of course, another Josh Gann for the Arizona Cardinals got let go. We got plenty more to go. So we're now going to send you Kyle Shanahan's press conference. Audio feed courtesy of the 49ers. And that segment begins right now.
All right, guys. Injuries from the game. D. Winters with his ankle. Kalia Davis, knee tendonitis, day-to-day. Tatum Bethune, groin, be out for the rest of the season. And updates on players who missed the game. Trent Williams and Ricky, both with hamstring and knee ankle. We'll evaluate them throughout this week. And that's it. Go ahead.
Did Bethune have a groin tear?
Yes.
Will that require surgery?
Possibly. I haven't decided yet.
And obviously Eric Kendricks has to step in. How do you feel about his readiness with the defense to be able to play at a high level that he's shown in the past?
I'm real confident in Eric. He's been here long enough. These games he's gotten in the last couple of weeks, he's done a good job of, and I'm glad that we got him for this situation.
Who's the next guy up at that? Who's the next guy up at that weak side spot if D. Winters wouldn't be able to play?
It could be Warlow. It could be Curtis Robinson.
Kyle, I'm sure it's not this week, but are you reaching a point with Fred at all, or any update on him where maybe he could start practicing or at least start looking at that, or is that still too far off?
I think it's too far off right now. I think it is a possibility, as we got closer to a possible third game here, championship game, but it's not something we're thinking about right now.
So Brock Purdy came out of the game fine after that sack at the end?
Yeah, Brock checked out good.
Kyle, what was your process, the coaching staff's process yesterday for starting game planning on the potential of three opponents?
We came in and we spent a lot of time as a staff on the Saturday night game, just really evaluating that and going through all three sides of the ball with the staff, and then we watched those other games to figure out, did a little of our own scouting, but not making it official Philly till after the afternoon and finding out after the night game what day we'd play him on. And we were excited that it was on a Sunday so we can have a normal 7-day week. So came in this morning treating it like a true Monday, just finished with the players and put Seattle game all to bed with them, and now we're getting going on Philly.
And when you look at Philadelphia, what kind of stands out to you as far as the challenge that they offer your team?
We're still really early into it, but we know how good Phillies is, how good they've been. We know they have a great defense. They got a very talented and good offense in terms of how well they run the ball and some of the playmakers they have and the issue that their quarterback presents. And they've had a Super Bowl defense for a few years now, so we know those will be the biggest challenges.
Does their defense
Kyle, I know you
pose
guys-
similar challenges as the Seattle defense schematically and in terms of their strengths and weaknesses?
Yeah, I mean, they got a really good pass rush, and then they got tight coverage, so that is a similar part of it.
Kyle, I know you guys look at GPS on guys. You also look at it at the game, and with the 18 missed tackles, was part of it just the fatigue from playing 3 games in 13 days?
Yeah, I think that definitely doesn't make it easier. I think that stuff adds up. I think it does with injuries and stuff too, but that can't be your excuse for it. I mean, that's just stuff that doesn't make it easier. You got to find a way to do it, and we said it during the game, and it's only more evident after. 18 missed tackles is way too much.
But
Kyle,
did the GPS reports show that was an issue? Did the energy level show on those reports?
GPS doesn't really show with missed tackles or anything. That just tracks their top speed and how much yardage they cover in a game. And our guys were speed-wise fine. They were same as the week before.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Sure.
Kyle, how would you evaluate throughout the week as opposed to day-to-day? Does day-to-day mean they're closer to playing?
Yes. It means it's Monday, and there's a chance that they might be good by Wednesday, or there's a chance they might be good by tomorrow. The other ones we see as more evaluating throughout the week.
I know that Nick Martin has to spend at least one more week on IR before he could come back. But is he out of the protocol at this point, the concussion protocol?
I didn't check today since we have another week anyway, so I'm not sure about that.
Kyle, did Ricky Pearsall have some sort of setback, or is it just the same thing that he keeps re-aggravating?
He re-aggravated it, which whether that looks like a setback or, I guess it's not a setback. It was just he re-aggravated it, which is usually what happens with PCLs.
Are there any plans to open the windows for anybody? I mean, specifically, we talked about Jacob Cowling for a while.
Yeah, Cowling's window will open this week. He'll start practicing here on Wednesday.
Kyle, it appeared like it was a tough game for your offensive line, and particularly the tackles. What was your assessment of their performance?
It was a tough game, and we knew it would be going into it. There was a couple times, especially that last third down. There was a few times that they got edges on our tackles. The 4th and 1 was a big one, and the last third down was a big one. But I also think they had a number of plays where they did give us time. But we didn't take advantage of those and score on those drives. But it's, going against a defense like that, you are going to have some bad plays, which they did. But by no means were they not up for the challenge on other plays also.
Was there anything about the game tape that was different than what you expected to see?
No, the game tape was very, very much what we expected to see. We had a big challenge, and we thought we had to play at our best, and we didn't play at our best. Give credit to them for that. I thought we made a couple too many mistakes, which when you're in this more later. You talk about the O-line and stuff, that we were able to get those all the way down there, but then had the turnover on the 3. But it just wasn't clean enough football to beat a good team like that. And we know we can play cleaner.
Kyle, you said the message to the guys would be to embrace the hard road ahead. And then you land, the reigning Super Bowl champs in round 1. How have they been receptive to that? especially amid some of these injuries that seem to be piling up again?
I mean, I think that's what our guys are ready for. I mean, to go all into that game, I don't think we cared who we played. The main thing was knowing that you got to go to 3 on the road to get there to the last game of the season, as opposed to 2 games at home to get there. So that was the biggest thing in playing the hard way. Right now, you can't get picky about who you play, whether it's the defending champs or whether it's the 7th seed. This is the playoffs. Everyone's earned the right to be here. If you want to reach your ultimate goal, you got to be good enough to beat anybody.
Hey, Kyle, going back to Philly, obviously it's a different team than 22 and 23, but going back there in 23 and winning the way you did, for the guys that are, still on the team now, do you think that helps them in terms of it's not all about, getting revenge for the 2022 NFC Championship game, knowing that you've already been back?
Yeah, I think those storylines and stuff are great for fans and for people to talk about throughout the week and stuff, but I don't think the players think much about that, especially how many years it is removed on both sides. The guys who were there in 23 or 22, I think the best deal is understand the atmosphere of Philly, what it's like to go there and play a big game and how it can be, and it helps guys be more prepared for the moment, but I don't see much correlation into the previous meetings to this one.
How did you feel about how Upton Scout played against the last game?
I thought Upton played really well. I thought might have been his best game of the year. I thought he had an awesome game.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, guys? All right, we'll see you on Wednesday.
All right, that was Kyle Shanahan earlier today speaking with the Bay Area media down at Santa Clara on a conference call. So the Niners got to do the dirty work to get to the promised land, the Yellow Brick Road, the Emerald City, or not the Emerald City in the Pacific Northwest, but the Yellow Brick Road to get to Super 60, which will be here in the Bay Area on February the 8th, 2026. Levi Stadium, that will be exactly a month from now. And the Niners take that first step, and they're going to be taking on the Philadelphia Eagles for a late Sunday afternoon, or that would be a late game, 1:30 Pacific Standard Time, our time, and that will be on Fox Sports. That's be part of the late window. That will be the second game, and Niners got their work cut out. If they want to, they face the prospect. There have been teams have done that before, have done it on the road to win 3 on the road to get to the Super Bowl and win it. Hey, why not the 49ers? I mean, they got nothing more to lose with all the injuries. Fred Warner, if the Niners were to get to either the divisional playoff or to the NFC Championship, if they were to get to that point, could come back. It's going to be a long road to get there, and who knows? I mean, anything can happen in this second season. I just don't see no clear-cut team in the NFL or in either conference who could come out and win this thing, Why not the 49ers? They've got nothing more to lose. It's like I was reading some of the Philly on Facebook today. And, I want to share with you little flashback from more recently. So and I'm reading some of the from the 49er faithful. Some fan says from Facebook said, "I'm sick because the Seahawks, like the 6 opponents will be coming next year. They'll because the Niners finished in third place, they will get the third place schedule. I got it scrolled up on my Facebook. This is who the 49ers will play next year. All right, we apologize for the technical difficulties, so we continue on Niners Radio 49. So let me pull up who the Niners will get in 2026 on their schedule. And we pull it to you again. They will get the NFC East, and the AFC West on the schedule. They'll get the and taking a look at some of the stuff I've got on my content. 49er faithful fans. My husband and I are considering going to Philadelphia for this weekend to cheer on our boys. It would be the first time there. Does anyone have any recommendation on bars that we can score? Tickets aren't insanely expensive. And this is some of the Niner fans planning to go to Philadelphia for for this first step towards a Super 60. Of course, the Eagles are the defending Super Bowl champions. And here's something we got here from Eagles radio host, former Philadelphia Eagle linebacker Ike Reese. Their thought is going to be his thoughts on the game.
Hand tree is, whether it's Matt LaFleur, whether it's Sean McVay, it's all from the same tree. We face that offense seemingly every year at some point, sometimes twice a year.
So this is what Ike Reese said on his talk show WIP in Philadelphia.
I think we'll smother this offense. We've seen it. We know what the Kyle Shanahan tree is, whether it's Matt LaFleur, whether it's Sean McVay, it's all from the same tree. We face that offense seemingly every year at some point, sometimes twice a year we face that offense. So I feel confident from a defensive standpoint we'll have an idea of what Kyle Shanahan wants to do. But more importantly, he just doesn't have the horses. And I love Christian McCaffrey, but you saw what happens when you go up against a defense the caliber of Seattle, which is the Eagles aren't far from being Seattle. The Houston Texans, they shut that 49ers offense down because you can key in on Christian McCaffrey and the weapons on the perimeter. Now, granted, George Kittle didn't play Sunday or Saturday, and he'll be back next week. So that's definitely something you got to focus in on as a defense. But the outside weapons aren't good enough against this Eagles defense. Maybe another defense, they could put up points, but against this Eagles defense, I feel very confident. And that 49ers defense is exactly what we need as an offense. They're terrible against the run. I don't even know their cornerbacks' names. So we're going to have opportunities with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. You got that going for you. And they're coming here.
Well, they have no pass rush.
Yeah, no pass rush, yeah. and we're rested. I almost feel too confident. I got to dial it back a little bit because this is a great matchup, the 49ers. This is a great matchup. It's a great matchup because the defense is what's going to lead us. And until we play a team like Seattle that has a great defense, I'm not going to be concerned. I'm just not. Because our defense will hold the other team's offense down just enough for us to do enough. The problem arises when somebody's shutting down our offense as well. I love the matchup. I think we'll smother this offense. We've
All right, that was Ike Reese on his talk show at 610 WIP in Philadelphia. This is, but the Eagles did rest their players. They did end up falling to the Washington Commanders 24-17 in their regular season finale in Philadelphia. But people up there in Philly and people were saying, I was listening to a post game by former Philadelphia Eagles linebacker Seth Joyner. He talked about why did they rest him, and they still had a chance. The Eagles had a chance going into yesterday's game with a chance with an outside chance with the number 2 seed because the Lions beat the Chicago Bears. All the Eagles had to do, if they beat the Commanders, then they leapfrog the Bears from the 3 to the number. Then the Eagles would have been the number 2 seed. Chicago would have dropped the 3rd, and the Niners would be headed to Chicago for the wild card matchup. A lot of people questioning Nick Sirianni, why the Eagles rest their players, and they were playing. Or Seth Joyner saying why they're playing. Rest their players. You're playing for the number 2 seed. They would have, had they won that game yesterday, the Eagles would have been the number 2 seed. They would have had home field advantage through at least through the divisional playoff, just like last year when the Eagles finished in second, had the number 2 seed, and because due to the fact with the Detroit Lions, once they were eliminated by the Washington Commanders, when they end up beating the Rams in the divisional playoff, the winner of that Rams Eagles game was going to have the NFC Championship run through them, and as a result of the Eagles beating the Rams, the NFC Championship would run through Philadelphia, in which they would end up winning that game against their rival, the Commanders, and took that all the way to the Super Bowl when they end up beating the Kansas City Chiefs decisively in last year's Super Bowl. You know, and their offense kind of been up and down. Of course, they had the 3-game losing streak where they blew that 21-0 lead to the Dallas Cowboys back in mid-November. That was kind of the game that cost them the number 2 seed, and it started their 3-game losing streak, and then they lose to the Chicago Bears on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, which that ended up costing them the division title, cost them possibly the number 1 seed. They end up finishing 2 games out of the top spot in the NFC. But, you know, they rested some of their players. Jalen Hurts did not suit up. Some of the guys did not suit up. So, you know, the Niners going to have their hands full, and everybody's now written the Niners off. They've been injured. You know, Tam Bethune, unfortunately, now is out for the rest of the year with the torn groin. He's gonna miss the rest of the postseason. He's may have to have surgery. And then with Trent Williams and Ricky Pearsall, their status is uncertain. Ricky Pearsall suffered still with the PCL injury, and Trent Williams with the hamstring injury, uncertain whether they both be able to go in this wild card matchup. It's just been, you know, injury after injury after injury. But, you know, hey, you know, the Niners up to this point, they've been playing with house money all year. They bounced back after a tough last year disappointment after coming after that awful heartbreaker to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And, you know, like I said, anything can happen in the second postseason. The Niners, you know, are huge underdogs, and I know for Niner fans, if they can get some points, Javon Connolly could be activated to the 53-man roster for this playoff game. Get some of that break. He's been dealing with injuries all year with the hamstring. Well, you know, you can throw everything out. It's the second season, and College Check said it at best. You know, hey, we don't feel that bad. They've been playing some best football. You know, they lost out on a chance to get that home field advantage. And there have been teams before that end up winning 3 games on the road to get to the Super Bowl. We've seen it with Tampa Bay. We've seen it with the New York Giants did it back in 2007. The Pittsburgh Steelers did it 20 years ago when they beat when they end up beating the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Also, don't forget who else did it in the past. And then you had other teams who did it in the past, though. Baltimore did it 25 years ago. Then it was the Denver Broncos, Mike Shanahan's dad. And hey, Kyle Shanahan's dad, Kyle remembers when they had to win 3 playoff games when they beat the Jaguars in that revenge rematch of that divisional playoff when the Jaguars upset the Broncos in the 96. They beat the Jaguars and they beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and then they ended up beating the Pittsburgh Steelers to advance to the Super Bowl. So, like I said, you know, you could throw everything out, the win-loss record up to this point. You know, this is one game. You win, you move on. You lose, you go home, and that is that. And, you know, the Niners, even though despite all their limitations and their challenges on defense, they have a chance. And, you know, Niners got to improve on that running game. They got to improve on that running game. They've got to stop the run. The 3rd down 17 on last Saturday night was when they ran 17 yards and more for that first down. That was kind of the game breaker right there. Kenneth Walker's run, which was 9 times out of 10, if you're on a 3rd and a good fat long like that, you usually stop the run. the 10th time it turned out to be Snake Eyes. So Niners going to have to work on that rank because the Seahawks dominated with the time of possession as well. So the Niners now have to, this is their regular work week. They'll play Sunday, 1:25 to kick off, and that will be on Fox. And then, of course, if the Niners were to win that game, they most likely would head to Seattle for the divisional playoff on the following Sunday or the following weekend up in Seattle. And then we'll see what happens there. They would have to go up there to Seattle. That would be a rematch of the playoffs 3 years ago. Would be the first time. That would be the third time the Niners will play the Seahawks in postseason. We all remember what happened in the NFC Championship, but that's something we can think about on a later date. We got to focus on this game today: the Niners and the Seahawks, or the Eagles first before we can take the Seahawks. So we are going to get ready to wrap it up for tonight. Later this week, we're going to try to get some people from the media, personalities or media who cover the Philadelphia Eagles, give their inside perspective of this upcoming matchup. And check us out on youtube.com/@NinersRadio49. I'd like to thank all of you for watching tonight. Professor B signing off, and so long. Thank you for watching 49ers Live, the aftermath tonight on Niners Radio 49. I'll be posting up. So we will talk to you. We'll have another edition of 49ers Live tomorrow, and we'll get you ready for the NFC playoffs. Professor B signing off, wishing you all a very pleasant, good evening. So good night, everybody. Stay faithful. Hey, this is what you play the game for. So, try to think positive. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.